Let's now begin our discussion on the terminology comparison first. Now, what terminology you see in the golden color will be the MT terminology, and whatever you see in the green color is the ISO terminology. What we call as format in MT will be known as the data type in ISO. Field becomes element. Presence is min and max. Yesterday we talked about 1.0 or 1.1 or 1.star 0.1. Like those, we spoke about the multiplicity occurrences, also known as the min and the max. Qualifier is code in ISO. Usage rule in MT is textual rule in ISO. Network validated rule NVR becomes the cross element rule in ISO. Bank is called an agent. Debtor, ordering customer, is known as the debtor. Here is where I'd like to take a pause and move that to my Excel sheet to give you a little more thought on that. When I speak about a debtor, we'll not only call debtor as the ordering customer. My definition of debtor will include not only the ordering customer, but also the party whose account gets debited at the debtor agent bank. So this is the definition you have to keep in mind. Party whose account gets debited is the debtor. And I'll explain to you why I'm speaking about this terminology, because subsequently, when we start looking mainly at the cover payment mechanism under ISO, you may have a thought in your mind that why those two elements, this debtor element will come twice in a cover process of ISO 2022. At that time, we have to once again look at this definition. So to repeat, debtor is known as ordering customer, but I will insist upon you're also keeping this in mind that it is the party whose account gets credited. Creditor in MT would be the beneficiary. The beneficiary, I will also like to add another part here, party whose account gets credited. This is the thought we have to keep in your mind. So party whose account gets credited, because we will also be talking about terms like the ultimate debtor and the ultimate creditor. I'll explain those concepts also on this slide only. Once I conclude discussing this slide, I'll talk about the ultimate debtor and the ultimate creditor. To come back, ordering customer is the debtor in ISO. Debtor is the party whose account gets debited. The beneficiary customer is known as creditor. Creditor is the party whose account gets credited. That's our definition. Then we'll have the message sender. Sender of the message, which you have in block 1 of MT, is called instructing agent in ISO. And if you recall our yesterday's discussion, this party who sends the message, that information comes at 3 different places. It comes in the transport header. It comes in the business application header. It also comes in the document. So this point of who is the instructing agent, who is the sender of the message, will come in different places. So we have instructing agent in ISO. In MT, we call that as the message sender. This is a role. These are the roles which we are speaking about. Message receiver becomes instructed agent. So instructing agent is the sender. Instructed agent is the receiver. So this is the mapping we have. We have looked at the party level. And subsequently, when I discuss the contents of each and every ISO message, at that time also we can compare this element in ISO is equal to this field in MT. I'm going to do that at a later point of time. Okay, let me then start about the ultimate debtor and the ultimate creditor. Now we have on my Excel sheet, I'm assuming you're all able to see my Excel sheet. Are you?
Yes.
Okay, we have Radhika on one side. Then we have got Arshad on the other side. Then we have one more person, let's say Vineet. And we also have Grace. Now, Arshad has let me move them a little this side. Arshad has an account, let us say, with Bank of America. And Vineet has an account, let us say, with Citibank. Arshad initiates a PAN 001 and sends that to Bank of America. In this case, Arshad is the debtor. Bank of America is the debtor agent where Arshad has his account. Citibank is the creditor agent where the creditor, Vineet, has an account. So Arshad initiates a PAN 001, goes to BOFA. BOFA, through the clearinghouse, sends a PAX 008 to Citi. So assume that there is the clearinghouse in between Bank of America and Citi. The clearinghouse clears that and settles that tax rate, pays Citi, and then Citi would credit that money to the account of Vinith, where Vinith will get, like you get MT 900, he will get 910, he'll get a CAMT 54 credit notification. This is the base process. So here, the party whose account got debited at Bank of America is Arshad, he is the debtor. The party whose account got credited is Vinith. It is, however, possible that Arshad is making a payment on behalf of, which we call as POBO in the industry, payment on behalf of. Arshad is paying on behalf of Radhika. Radhika is not having an account with Bank of America, but Radhika has got some kind of an arrangement with Arshad. Using that arrangement, Arshad is now making the payment on behalf of Radhika. Then since the payment is being made on behalf of Radhika, we call Radhika as the ultimate debtor, on whose behalf the payment is being made. The one who is making the payment is the debtor, on whose behalf the payment is being made. Radhika in this case is the ultimate debtor. On the other hand, Vinith may be collecting money on behalf of Grace, which is what we call as COBO, or collection on behalf of. Some of you may use the word ROBO, receipt on behalf of. So if Vinith is collecting or receiving on behalf of Grace, Vinith, whose account gets credited, is the creditor, and Grace, on whose behalf Vinith is collecting the money, will become the ultimate creditor. So this is the way in which we have the terminology: ultimate debtor, debtor, creditor, and ultimate creditor. Are we coming? Now this is an example.
Yes,
now,
yes.
Before I go ahead, let me elaborate the use case and then I'll explain to it. Jack is a borrower. Jack has an account with NatWest Bank. Jack has an account with NatWest Bank. Jack works with a company called Gemini. Gemini has an account with HSBC. Jack has taken a home loan from HDFC, Housing Development Finance Corporation Limited, and HDFC has an account with Citibank. In many countries, especially in the United States, the lenders like HDFC do not collect the money directly from the borrowers. They appoint a loan servicing agent, a mortgage servicing agent. So in USA, assume that this is in USA, HDFC has appointed Star Financial Services to act as the mortgage servicing agent. So the mortgage servicing agent on behalf of HDFC will approach all the borrowers and collect the money from the borrowers. Another thing we would have noticed in many companies is that the employees do ask the companies to deduct certain payments from their salaries and directly remit them. For example, in India, your company will be deducting the tax at source and then on your behalf paying that to the government. Or they may deduct your provident fund installments, or maybe loan installments, insurance premiums. They may be deducting that and making that payment to the concerned entity. That's the way the employer makes the payment on behalf of the employee. That is the use case I'm talking about. Have you heard or seen such scenarios where the employer deducts the payment and makes the remittances?
Yes, Bhakran, as you mentioned, insurance premiums and TDSs are directly deducted from our accounts.
Right. So I'm going to use those cases. I'll have 4 different scenarios here of explaining those terms once again. Let me start with the scenario of a credit transfer. In a credit transfer, we have got Jack. Jack is employed with Gemini. What Jack has done, Jack has told his employer Gemini that on my behalf, deduct the loan installment from my salary and make that payment to the mortgage servicing company called Star Financial. So Jack has instructed Gemini, when salary payment is being made by Gemini, they deduct the loan installment from Jack's account. But since Gemini has deducted it, Gemini now instructs its bank, HSBC, that on behalf of Jack, make this payment ultimately to HDFC. So if this payment will go through Star Financials. Star Financial is now collecting on behalf of HDFC, and then it will remit the money. It's not shown here on that screen. It will remit that separately to HDFC. So in this case, Jack is the ultimate debtor. Gemini has the account at HSBC. Therefore, Gemini becomes the debtor. HSBC is the debtor agent. Wells Fargo is the creditor agent. Star is collecting on behalf of HDFC. HDFC is the ultimate creditor. This is my scenario number 1. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. One more scenario where now Jack is making a payment directly. If Jack is making a payment directly, then in that message which you create, there will be no element called ultimate debtor. Jack has an account with NatWest. Jack is asking NatWest, debit my account and make the payment. Then we will have only debtor on the sending side of the money. on the receiving side, you still have the creditor and the ultimate creditor. This is my scenario number 2, where Jack's account got debited. There is no place now for the ultimate debtor. Let me take the third scenario. This is a different term which I'm going to talk about now. That is there in your ISO messages. So Jack now has a solely owned account at NatWest. He's not having an account jointly with Jane, who could be his wife. So we have Jack having an account with NatWest. However, Jack has authorized Jane to operate his account. It happens many times. People give power of attorneys to somebody else to operate the account. In companies, we appoint some authorized entities to operate the account. In that case, assumption here is Jack has authorized Jane to operate Jack's account at NatWest. Then on behalf of Jack, Jane is initiating that payment and asking NatWest. She could create a PAN 001 and send that to NatWest saying that debit Jack's account and make the payment. Here then Jane becomes the initiating party. So that role is also clear here. So Jane has become the initiating party. Jack still remains the debtor, NatWest the debtor agent, Star the creditor, HDFC the creditor agent. This is the push type of transaction. Let me take the fourth and the last scenario about a pull type of a transaction. In pull type of transaction, this will be applicable to a direct debit. It is possible that Jack has given a mandate to Star, authorizing Star to debit Jack's account at NatWest. In that case, there'll be a PAN message, PAN 008, starting from Star and going to NatWest, telling NatWest, debit Jack's account because we have got the authority to pull that EMI from Jack's account. So on behalf of Jack, Star initiates the pull transaction. Here, Star becomes the initiating party. Rest of the roles remain same. This is how you'll have initiating party role also shifting when we have got the ultimate debtor and the ultimate creditor.